Good evening and welcome to the Jin Air SSL Premier League here at the Nexon Arena. I am Valdez, with me is Wolf, and we're here to bring you 5 best of 3s of 10 of the best StarCraft players in Korea.
That is right. We're in week 5, our 5th round here of Premier, and we're getting closer and closer to kind of having things set in terms of who will be attending playoffs. Obviously, nothing will be decided today, but we're getting closer and closer to that moment. We've got 2 PVTs this evening as well, and I'm excited to see if the Adept Phoenix style continues to pervade and how INnoVation, specifically against Patience, is going to deal with that strategy.
Yeah, we saw a pretty funny series at Challenge on Saturday. Me and Rapid were casting that one. It was Classic versus Ryung, and he kind of just did the same thing twice in a row where it was Proxy Stargate into Adept Phoenix. The second game didn't really get to Adept Phoenix, but it was going that way. You could feel it, and he was making the buildings and stuff. Ryung did not look happy as he got O2'd in about 10 minutes. So I would expect, with a style that strong, that we see it a bit more. Besides that, we have PvP, ZVZ, Stats versus S, BL versus Dark, and then a TVZ to end the night, Mara versus Solar. Should be pretty good. Yeah,
Mara versus Solar is an exciting one for sure. The last TVT we saw from him versus Alive was a great one, and I imagine that this is going to be him stepping it up in TVZ. He's had a bit of a tough time in terms of recent results compared to where you expect Mara to be, where he really shown in Pro League at the end. Of course, Jin Air, the defending champions, Mara didn't even play in that final series of Pro League. Yeah. Hopefully we have Pro League come back one day, but gone for now. Someday.
Maybe. Sad. Maybe the Brood War Pro League makes its way back.
Hopefully, who knows, man. But
there's a lot of StarCraft stuff going on nowadays with Brood War coming back, StarCraft Remastered, and even SSL sticking around thanks to the help of Jin Air to make this all possible. As you guys can probably guess, as there's like a plane engine right behind me, and it says Jin Air and stuff like that. It's just pretty cool. Very lime green kind of style we got going on here.
Now all we need is the Jin Air cross promotion with Sprite, and we'll be set.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, well, let's take a look at our matchups for today. I know the Korean commentators don't actually talk over this, but we will. INnoVation versus Patience will be our first matchup. Then we're going to another PvT, SOS versus Alive. And then our third one, Stats versus Zest. PvP there, an old iconic KT matchup there. BL versus Dark will be our ZVZ mirror for this round. And then Maru versus Solar will be the last match of the evening. So 5 best of 3s. Could be a long night. So if you're just joining, get ready, get set up, get your snacks kind of packed in. Put that 12-pack in the refrigerator. And let's get this going.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps you have to take before you do watch. Of course, get your snacks ready, your drinks, maybe make your mac and cheese if it's pretty late where you are and you want a bit of a midnight snack, especially because the breaks are very short. They're 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and then 10 minutes, which is the only long break that we get of the night, and then it goes into another 2-minute break towards the end. So non-stop StarCraft action here at the Nexon Arena.
So, in Legacy of the Void, 13-13, these two. Patience really stepping it up in Legacy, and this matchup seems to be kind of slowly moving towards the Protoss side in terms of favoring. And, you can see Patience having an incredible record versus Terran and SSL, but that does include the 2-0 result over Alive, which doesn't really count. Now, SOS versus Alive, this is going to be a good one for sure. When you look at this, you say SOS 7-1, 4-1, by far the better player in terms of career results. But recently, Alive has been ripping through. Unfortunately, however, seems to be his weakest matchup is the TVP. And that's a big problem against such a crafty opponent as SOS.
Yeah, what I really want to see is him taking the week to study, the style that Protosses are using. Just find out how to defeat it. I mean, Alive definitely seems like one of the players that's practicing the most out of all the players we have in Korea. So hopefully he's done a good job in preparing for this. And I would expect that kind of, Phoenix Adept style out of SOS, maybe with his own flavor, something a little bit weird, but should be what we expect here. But anyway, we are going to start off with INnoVation versus Patience. INnoVation, obviously a big household name in the StarCraft community, definitely one of the most informed Terrans nowadays, and he's been having a really strong SSL start here. His first season of SSL where he's actually doing quite well.
Yeah, he went 7-2. He was 6-1 until he lost his first series to Solar. He was also undefeated, so currently #1 in the rankings. His opponent here will be Patience, who's at the 6-3 with the free win, of course, over Alive, but still performing very well in this tournament. Previously last week, he defeated Zest with a 2-1 score on a pretty crazy PvP. Wasn't our cleanest series ever. But you would have to say that despite Patience and how Protoss is looking versus Terra, and INnoVation is still the favorite here. The question is, how is he going to defeat this style if Patience is bringing to the table that same Phoenix Adept we're seeing across Korea?
I would kind of expect INnoVation to just out-macro Patience and Patience to try stuff and get stopped, you know, early on in the game, and then INnoVation go into the mid-game ahead and then just have more stuff than Patience as the stronger player. That's kind of my prediction here.
The shirt of INnoVation says, "Game over, sorry USA." That has kind of been the trend of INnoVation traveling overseas.
Poor USA. Either way, guys, game #1, INnoVation versus Patience. Let's go.
INnoVation, 이신현. Patience, 조지현.
Fly better fly, Jin Air, or as Rapid like to say, the butterfly. But either way, down here in the bottom right, the blue Terran, it is INnoVation.
And his opponent to the top left in yellow, it is Patience, representing Dead Pixels. I have to text INnoVation after this and get that shirt. Game over USA. Sorry USA, that is everything that I am. And INnoVation with a very fast SCV coming out here, and he's pushing it super far to put it up here on the high ground just past the Space Shark Shadow. And over to the left side. No second SCV, so not an all-in and not a heavy commitment with the Reaper pressure. Already a scout coming out for Patience as he predicts that there's a chance this could happen, but will he swing back around? I'm looking on your turn, BC. The answer is yes. As cool as this sign is, he cancels immediately. And he went double refinery at home. I imagine he's going to cancel that as well. So a lot of lost money. Cannot transition to the CC first here in this matchup. So we'll have to now have a later barrack. So just the scout alone puts Patience in an incredible position to begin things off here.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We saw Jokji doing this against Deer just 2 days ago at SSL Challenge. And maybe this is a thing that a lot of Terrans are doing to get into the base of the Protoss early on. You know, something they may see a lot on the ladder. So that might be the reason why Patience goes for an early scout on a map like this, just right to the direction where INnoVation was. Maybe just tends to run into this quite often. So Patience with a good start here.
It's an important follow-up scout. The cool thing about this situation when you see the barracks cancel is you know there's the potential for that CC first where you could put a lot of pressure on. It's pretty unlikely to see it, but he wants to go and confirm. He sees that. He knows no matter what, with the late barracks, because of the cancel, the probe can get in, can harass the building SCV, can harass the CC building SCV now, as you guys can see here. So I like the choice to follow up scout with this probe. He's going to save it, sends it home, and now he can build adepts. Cybercore is complete.
Let the games begin.
Let the games begin. Terran's having a lot of trouble right now against this style. We will see if it's committed the Phoenix style, as it's just so far another scout here coming out for Patience. It's not going to proxy a Stargate or anything like that at this moment in time. It's going to actually be a Robo first, so not going to see that exact same style that we've been seeing so far. It's going to be a more conservative play here.
Yeah, not to begin with at least. You know, we might see some War Prism play too with the Adepts. Maybe he wants to do a bit of harass with that, but definitely an early Robo that comes out here. And maybe he's just saying, okay, your barracks is delayed. You know, you got a decent amount of gas early on. You're going to be teching up, so maybe you're not going to have that many units early. So perhaps I could get over there and do some damage.
Ooh, unlucky. That's my professional play-by-play commentary of the situation.
Yeah. Ooh, that sucks. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Well, the Reaper is going to live to scout another day. Can actually burst his way past this mothership core. The Shade's coming up. Still gets a scout on the Robo, which is very critical. Looks like he may even see the double gates. In fact, he will. Ooh, and it bursts out that energy there just to secure the kill. could argue it's worth it, but INnoVation could definitely be happy the energy was spent after he got the entirety of the scout off. It looks to be going for a Widowmine drop here to start things off, which is obviously going to be fairly risky considering that there's already an observer and the Robo was out for a long time.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of interesting with this many observers that you get from the early Robo. You should have one at both bases, maybe even a third out on the map to see where the medevac is coming in from. And even though he forced one overcharge, there's going to be a depths at the other base that doesn't have the mothership core. So as you were talking about, this should definitely be held off. It's actually just going to be a fake drop. We've seen this sometimes, you know, try to force a pull, you know, an overreaction from the Protoss while not really committing anything because the medevac is going to get away with the boost. So you're literally committing nothing by doing this fake drop.
Yeah. You know, the only downside to this drop, of course, is that I was looking for the observer, did see it. The only downside to the drop is that you committed a lot of resources to this starport early on, and it's just not going to get you any value in terms of permanent damage. So, gets a second follow-up scout, and I'm not entirely sure if he saw the Twilight Council, but I think he did. We'll see the third base on the way out, so Patience placed that right at the last second. Did see the Forge, but not the Twilight Council. Just checking your PC there.
Yep.
So, he knows the likely follow-up is going to be the Adepts with Glaives. It's going to be the +2. He's going to have enough probes on that third base to have a strong attack. He's going to try to get a tempo advantage with this Prism, with the fast Robo. INnoVation actually committed to siege tanks to be safe against this initial attack. 2 of them, I believe.
Hey, he's made 2 siege tanks. We don't see any more, as actually the factory's moved off of the tech lab. And oftentimes we see lots of Widowmines committed to because the Adepts tend to bunch up. And wow, that Widowmine doing a number to that Warp Prism, but not able to kill it, of course. No Viking out on the map, so able to come on in there, get 3 SCV kills, back away.
Look at Patience setting up for this. He's going to continue to have Chrono non-stop on the Forge, so as soon as this +1 finishes, he's going to have +2 attack on the way. That is going to really hurt INnoVation, especially because he's not getting the armor upgrade right now. So he's not even going to have +1 armor by the time that +2 attack is finished. Good attack without the +2 potentially here, but in fact going to go to the armor instead, or the unusual way, and also blink. So he's not going to do an all-in attack, which we've seen a lot in recent times, which is why, you know, I was expecting so much this follow-up. But I guess maybe he's changed his mind because he didn't do damage with that Warp Prism at all. He didn't really kill that many SCVs.
This is a pretty strong push coming out of INnoVation. Definitely do not take this lightly. Stim, Combat Shields, and +1 all finishing up at the same time. This Warp Prism drop is really cheeky because INnoVation just moved out, and I would have to think that Patience saw that with the Observer and came in at the perfect time. This is already getting a ton of damage done, only 4 Adepts.
He just needs to buy time with this force field here. He needs it.
Yep.
There it is.
Just needs to buy time, as you were saying. Just needs to hold off this push.
6 gates of Adepts coming in here. He's going to kill every last SCV, and all you have to do is keep force fielding here. Yes, the siege tanks are going to do some damage, but the majority of the bio cannot get inside. 8 more Adepts warped in here. The Prism finally going to be taken out, so no more pressure back at home. This is still a strong push by INnoVation, but if he just keeps warping in sentries and force fielding, it's going to force INnoVation to attack another angle or perhaps elevator up. You know, at this point in time, he's just simply running into a wall. No way through. Hitting the Nexus now. A few Marines actually coming through. They're going to get siphoned off here with this force field.
Yeah,
well
you could see how fast this push is losing pressure because Patience able to get a couple of extra warp pins. There's the shade on in onto that Terran army and move it down the map.
Immortals targeting down those siege tanks here. +1 armor going to finish right at the end of this. Not going to matter anyways. GG. And INnoVation went for the attack. Adepts used on the defensive on the high ground there, but using the harass in the main base. INnoVation had no answer for that, literally none whatsoever.
The hourglass, actually, of Patience, that's been his logo for quite a while, and that really just kind of tells the tale of this game, as you were saying. The perfect timing for the Warp Prism to come on in and do that damage and really just cut the head off of that push. Just buying himself enough time with the force fields, too, and really just reading INnoVation well in that game.
People tell tales, and I know most people watching probably don't remember this era, but there was a time in Korea, where the Terran builds were 2 racks Marauder, and you would just see these stim pushes up the ramp, hoping the force fields didn't hit the ramp. That was really a thing. That was the meta. INnoVation seemed stuck behind that force field wall. He just kept trying to break through, never readjusted his position, never tried to elevate units onto the high ground, never hit the third base. INnoVation's all he had to do literally was continue to force field because INnoVation was not willing to adapt, not willing to change his push there. Would have been hard to pull off, but he didn't even try it. So Patience just gets a free win on the defense.
Yeah, so nicely done there. Guys, we're going to be jumping into set number 2 right now. Here we go. Going into game number 2. Here in the top left, the blue Terran needs to win 2 in a row to come back. It's INnoVation.
His opponent just needs to win 1 more. It is Patience. Down here at the bottom right in yellow. Yellow, very Protoss color here. It suits his Dead Pixels jersey.
Yeah, it's a perfect color for Patience, that's for sure.
Well, look, I mean, he didn't get much damage done with the Warp Prism initially, but it survived. Mind you, this is the Observer, or rather the Prism that came back in at almost no health, only shields because of that initial Widowmine hit. Sneaked it back in. INnoVation perhaps thought, okay, there's no way he comes back in here. Maybe he had a few Marines that weren't nearby that he was like, okay, just these few Marines should be enough because he doesn't have any health left on this Prism. I should be able to just straight up defend anything and hit him hard. But he had no solid defense back at home. He didn't have the Viking, as you mentioned. He didn't have a large amount of units. He didn't leave a group of, say, like 10 STEM Marines back at home to shut this down, stop the warp in. So when he hit Patience at the natural, Patience just had to force field repeatedly. The tanks were hitting the Nexus eventually, but they weren't initially, and it didn't matter. We got some Jin Air fans down here. And
those are some nice planes. I like the one on the right a little bit better just because it had wings. The one on the left, definitely missing something on an airplane.
Well, yeah, I don't know entirely what was going on with that one. Couldn't tell you, but
maybe it was the Jin Air train. I mean,
he did have a KTX ticket. He messed up. He didn't fly the Jin Air plane directly to the studio. Could have definitely got a private jet for that.
Yeah. Now that I look again, it looks like a train. makes a bit more sense.
There's like a helicopter pad up on top of this building. All right, could have definitely got the Jin Air helicopter.
That's how me and Wolf get to the studio every day. We take our helicopter.
I used to be afraid of heights, but no more.
Well, you ride the helicopter like 5 to 10 times. You get used to it eventually.
Yeah, it's loud, but we got ear protection for that. I just wear the same headsets the pro gamers wear, so they can't hear the crowd and the commentators, and I'm good.
That's how we get those shots actually in the beginning of the day. You know, that big wide shot of Gangnam Seoul.
Took that on my iPhone 6s Plus.
Yeah. We just gave the file over to Spot TV. It's pretty easy.
Scout deny here against Patience. So he's going to go across and poke with this Mothership core. And Robo coming up here, so very identical builds. He's going to have the potential to harass once more.
That's a Widowmine that's coming out. I think he needs a Cyclone right now to stop this. That's what we've been seeing like all the time out of Terrans when they successfully stop this kind of push with the pylon. Although he's not
committing the probe.
Yeah, the probe's not going. So this is actually just going to be fine. The Warp Prism should, or rather the Mothership Core should get a nice scout.
Gus comes in here, flies past the Widowmine, sees it's going to be an identical build as the previous one. I don't know if he knows that or not, because obviously he couldn't see the drop was fake initially. He doesn't know exactly the variations here. Just going to recall home after harassing. Take out one more Marine, maybe even get both. I think he can.
Yeah, looks like it. He's damaged a bunch of these SCVs, unfortunately not killing any of them. There's the recall. Looks like it does survive.
Yep, no crazy spine crawler animation for the Widowmine shot going across the map. Does get canceled in the middle there. So the Widowmine drop is coming across the map. It's already been spotted by Patience, so he just needs to get in position to set up. He's going to have a second observer.
This is pretty nice. He's setting up a pylon over there. It looks like he might drop a 4th gate and maybe just go for a ton of adepts at the front. As long as he doesn't take damage from this, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. There comes one Widowmine on in. The perfect surround, no damage. Doesn't have enough for a second overcharge,
yeah, he
though.
doesn't have the second observer either, actually. It's just a bit too late. Oh, targets the assimilator probe, not even going to get a single kill.
Wow.
And we'll see if there's a gateway committed here. Nope, just going to slow warp some stalkers in.
Okay.
And they can obviously harass and poke a little bit at the front and make sure that no third CC is planted. And with Sim a long way away with this build, there's no way that the Marines can really chase this down. So you can actually poke at the front, catch some Marines, harass them if you have good multitasking. And sadly, we're not going to get a shot of that right now, but it's going on as we speak. Observer, perfect tracking on this drop. He's going to look to harass these Marines and perhaps catch the drop on the way back. Oh man, Adept's coming up here too. He could just straight up fight this, and I'm not talking about INnoVation. I'm not sure why he's trying to fight this, in fact.
Oh, the Widow Mine too. It drops to its death. This is so many gateway units. That's the army of INnoVation right now. That's just not enough units. He has to pull the SCVs, and I'm not even sure that's going to be enough. 2 Marauders do come down.
It looks like it will just barely be enough here, but so much damage being done. Exactly. I mean, he is just getting shut down on every turn. Patience is dominating him here just with an unusual pylon. We don't normally see slow warp in play like this. The Warp Prism just setting up here for full of harass, and he is getting a Dark Shrine behind all of this for some potential DT drops.
I think those went into the main, those Adepts.
Yep.
There they are.
There they are. Just going to target down SCVs. 6 dead already. INnoVation dropping low in the worker count. And he's just, you know, eventually going to clean this up. He has the potential to counterattack eventually, but it's not a strong enough army yet to move across the map. Patience doesn't have a third base, as the observer is pointing out too, so this is not just a done deal. He didn't do enough damage to end the game or anything like that, but he has this nice lead. Here's the counterattack I'm talking about.
It might get shut down pretty hard by the amount of gateways that Patience did make. In total, he has 6 and the Dark Shrine. So as long as he just makes Adepts back at home, he should be able to hold this. I was surprised that he didn't just invest into a 4th base. You can see how many minerals he's floating right now. And actually, all of his units out of position. They're out on the map.
He just did a warp in too at his Prism, as far as I can tell, so not going to have that back at home either. But he sends a large group back. 2 Widow Mines here. Doesn't look like he notices them. We're going to knock out the Adepts in the front line. This probe's trying to rebuild this pylon. Going to get shut down, so 2 gateways unpowered. He's working with just the 3 right now, and this is a big problem. We do see the 3 gateways going into DTs, but into the main base, not used for the defense. INnoVation immediately sees this. We'll get 2 for free on the scan. That's huge. But he's going to need another scan here for this last one. Meanwhile, this is finally going to get shut down, but he killed the 2 gates. He's going to have it in 2 seconds here, but already a few SCVs going down. Also 2 mules lost in terms of energy cost. And forced, obviously, several turrets. I think INnoVation gets pretty ahead from this, though. That was a lot of damage done in the main base.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Question is, when is that 3rd base going to come up? Looks like he should be able to hold off the 3rd base. And look at the army size difference right now. That's really where the supply difference comes on in. INnoVation easily able to stop this 3rd base, as there's not much of a standing army for the Protoss right now.
Every single unit he's made has been used for harassment, minus the few units that were harassing earlier that came back to defend. He also lost those gateways. You could see he's got this large extra mineral bank because he was trying to make the Nexus. He had to cancel. He lost a lot of waves of gateway cycles because he lost those 2 gateways. He remade 3, but he doesn't have a 3rd base economy. Looks like he's just going to try to force this into a 2-base versus 2-base game here for the time being. Starts that 3rd Nexus once more, but INnoVation is going to see it on his way out and can drop down if he doesn't send units over. Meanwhile, he's going to hit the main base and start to poke down these pylons. It's going to be a double pylon shutdown as the main base here gets blown up. Or the Widow Mine, oh my god, he's
GG, that's it, okay. Quick ending
right
there. INnoVation taking game 2 with 0 emotion on his face. The Cold Stone
Not the Cold Stone.
Cold Stone Killer. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Not the Cold Stone Creamery and Itaewon.
He's going to go get some ice cream after this win.
Well, I have to give INnoVation credit for just seeing the situation for what it was. So much resources spent for harass that eventually started to lose value over time. And this was the concern, you know. I said the only thing that INnoVation really has going for him is that large army. He has the ability to pressure and attack. Patience did not have a defense set up, especially in his main base. Lost control of his gateways, lost that pylon, and things started to snowball as a result. He lost his 3rd Nexus twice. And, you know, I feel like the cool thing about the build for Patience was how much pressure he put on INnoVation in the early game, knowing the build, knowing they didn't have stim, harassed a lot, killed several SCVs. If the defensive transition had been better, I feel like he could have taken the 2-0 here.
So guys, we're going to be jumping into Game 3 on Newkirk Precinct. Let's get into it. Down here in the bottom right, Blue Terran able to come back with a nice win in Game 2. It's INnoVation.
This opponent down near the bottom right, or bottom left, sorry, in yellow is Patience.
Close enough.
Oh, it's one of the two, right?
Yeah.
I didn't put my hands up and look at the L on my fingers fast enough to know. That's how I tell my left and right ever since kindergarten.
You always got to be ready. No writing stuff. No using the iPad to check out stats.
Yeah, I was trying to Google really fast which one is left. I just didn't get it in time.
That's what happens in like a super futuristic society where people just can't rely on their own knowledge anymore. They have to use Google for everything. That's when Google Skynet takes over the world, Wolf. You're already making it happen.
Well, look, I just started playing that Horizon Zero Dawn game, right? And
yeah.
The main character gets this Bluetooth headset-looking thing. And whenever she looks at something, it tells her what it is. And when she sees the complex machines running around, it tells her all sorts of data. But when she's a rabbit, it just says rabbit. I had the feeling if I had this headset, it wouldn't be able to tell me left and right. It would just, if I looked at the monitor and it scanned it, it would just say StarCraft. And I'm like, oh, that's not helpful. So it turns out even in the future, technology isn't that great. But we're going to see a quick Nexus coming down here for Patience as expected for Newkirk. It's a two-player map. Medium rush distance by ground, fast rush distance by air. INnoVation going to be doing a fast CC himself. We'll see if Patience actually commits to the pylon with the mothership core this time to overcharge the CC down there. Pretty unlikely, but it's possible on this map. He's sending a probe to check for proxies right now.
Ooh, okay. This looks like a Stargate.
Yep.
That's like a weird position. Normally you would expect it at the bases that have the rocks at them, which are close to the mains. Or if you want to get really cheeky, you can hide it in your opponent's third base, but that's really close. Very, very risky, so a very unlikely to be scouted location for Patience's Stargate here. And you can see the SCV goes over to the opposite side of the base and scouts that, hey, one pylon is missing. So INnoVation should know that something's up. Maybe he'll go for a bit of a scout.
The other thing, too, is that there's no mothership core. He doesn't see one at all in the main base, so yeah, that's pretty suspicious. Because then the Marine across the shift queued pattern here is just going to dodge barely the vision right in that wedge he went down, so he doesn't actually see this.
Nice hiding spot.
SCV checking the other obvious location, so Patience has a well-prepared Stargate here that he knows the scouting patterns, the common ones at least on this map. And the Adept is going to move across to go over here and do some poking, which is going to force those Marines back. The Oracle's already underway.
Yeah. See the Marines at the front. First Oracle on the way, already one Widow Mine being produced. And he's going to have that in good position. But even just one Widow Mine is not really enough. If the Protoss player is careful, he can definitely skirt around the edges of the Widow Mine.
Yep, 2 more gateways coming up here.
He's going straight for the front.
But he is. Just wants to kill as many Marines as possible. And that's exactly what he's going to do, targeting them down now. 2 Adepts here. This may just end the game. I'm not even being facetious. The SCV is heavily damaged. The mule goes down. He's got a Widow Mine, but it could just simply be avoided now.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps one Adept alive. He's got a second Oracle on the way. This Viking is so key because he's going to push back the Oracles, and he actually kills one. Second Oracle on the way, but he can't exactly just fly on in there.
Well, maybe
if that Viking stays on the ground.
Yeah. I think that's what he was hoping for. Unfortunately, not going to be the case. The Oracle is faster than the Viking and can still escape. And when you see the Phoenix coming out, we all know what happens next. Okay, we're going to see a second Phoenix queued up behind this. And he just added those 2 additional gateways. See if he commits to warping in further Adepts, or if he's just content with the damage he's done. Avoids the Widowmine shot. Gonna take a third Nexus. So that's the first step here of the transition out of this. Obviously, we'll go into Phoenix Adept as a composition, but he's not going to attack with it on 2 bases.
Patience was just kind of playing with his food for the first 2 games, and then he was like, oh, I lost the game. I think I have to play serious now. Look at that. That's so cute.
I didn't realize that was revealed yet. So I was a little bit worried, but does just shade right on, gets that, and look at this. There's just no way for him to combat this this Adept force. He's hiding behind his SCVs. Patience doesn't force the issue because he knows the SCVs could pull and surround his Adept, so he's worried about that.
I'm trying to think about what INnoVation would have needed to stop this. Well, if Patience runs into a Widowmine, that's one answer. But, you know, from the start, maybe a bunker to keep your Widowmines in so that you can kind of keep them away. But even that, you know, is not going to have full coverage. You would need to have it in that kind of perfect position that can cover the mineral line, but also the ramp. I
feel like it's also the lack of scouting on the Stargate is the first step to defeat. He just missed it. You know, he scouted, but he didn't actually get the scout.
But I feel like he had a decent idea that the Stargate was on the way. You know, he goes and sees no pylon. He's scouting for it. He's like, okay, I know it's on the way. I don't know the exact timing, but this is a nice little surround, and he's actually going to clean up all these Adepts. I think this is a bit of a mistake of control by Patience.
You guys couldn't see it either, but all the Marines on the ground, like most of them have about 2 hit points left, so, or did in that engage. So he definitely could have finished them off with the Adepts, but stopped targeting, started looking back at home, I guess. So the Phoenixes, still a few of them alive, 5 more gates coming up. He's got a really strong 3-base economy, and he's just setting up for that follow-up attack. And you know, if you're about to go on Reddit and say like Phoenix Adept's too strong, don't, because he's already massively ahead in this game. He's got 3 bases, had him for longer. It's not about the army composition. It's about the situation. You're going to pick off 2 spawning Widowmines. Nearly got that medevac as well. Stim and Combat Shields is ready, and he has the lead in army, but he has this tiny window to work with that he can't work with because the harassment is on his base. And in just a moment, when these 5 gateways finishes, Patience is going to explode in terms of army. Shouts, sees that Widowmine, just going to pick it up, so another lost Widowmine for INnoVation. Here's the gates, here they come.
Yeah, and he's got no robo in this, so he puts a forward pylon. He's going to add a gateway so that he can warp in fast over here. And he's just going to attack the front. Looks to be the strategy.
Harass these medevacs from behind too. INnoVation not paying attention. Nearly loses one. And all he has to do is just take this defensive engage now. Because INnoVation's going to walk to his side of the map. He's going to have already fast warp. He doesn't need that extra gateway. He can finish the game with it, I suppose.
There are 2 Widowmines, and those are easily just revealed by the Oracle and then picked up. He scouts where they are. So let's see. He's going to tag them right now. So if the fight happens now, he can easily just pick them up right away.
He just wants to wait because he knows he has the larger production and he's going to have more Adepts. He doesn't need a fight right now.
He's warping in 7 Adepts over at that pylon and at that gateway. Kind of interesting. It looks like he wants to do some counter harass.
Well, I mean, this is definitely not it's not the must-to-choose option, but it's going to force INnoVation to react. Oh man, Phoenix is coming across the map as well. He wants to deny this 3rd base. The Stargate's killed. That's a consolation prize here for INnoVation. Sadly, it's just not as significant. And 14 SCVs going down. He's now doubling the worker count, 60 to 30. And he doesn't have these Widowmines burned. Good force fields here to lock out the Marines. Not enough anti-air to kill the medevacs, sadly, but that could have been disastrous.
Yeah, may have wanted to lock in the Marines, as he's got more Adepts than Marines now. And the Guardian Shield, he's obviously going to help out. Patience super far ahead at this point. 21 SCVs have gone down. This one last desperate engage for INnoVation. I think he's going to try to get the miracle Widowmine shots. They actually don't even get to go off here.
Well, I mean, he is just not even mining anymore. This base lost its SCV a long time ago. Can actually just, okay, GG.
GG, there it is. Patience takes the 2-1 over our Terran player INnoVation.
I don't want to hear anybody complaining about Adepts after that game. That was just Oracles, actually, and some early light gateway pressure that INnoVation did not respond well to. And like you said, the question, should he have a bunker there? Should he have had more units? Should he have his Widowmine?
Maybe a Cyclone instead of a Widowmine too. That's the more common opening that we see. And the Cyclones make quick work of the Adepts on the ground, and you can run away your other stuff while the Cyclone is dealing with that. And then, you know, you follow up with a Viking, you take care of the Oracle. I mean, it's not the cleanest cleanup, but it definitely would have turned out better for him, I think, if he had made a Cyclone or made a bunker or something. Either way, Patience with a nice follow-up build to take the set, the best of 3, and take home about $700 and another win under his belt as he goes up to 4-1 now in SSL Premier.
Yeah, I mean, he had all the answers there in this series, got so ahead from that initial attack that all he had to do was follow the recipe, take the third base, make more Adepts, make Phoenixes, and there was just almost nothing INnoVation could do from the early deficit.
So that's also a really important win because INnoVation was really high up in this league. So taking a win off of a player who's doing very well means that you're in a really good spot to make it into the next round because you'll probably have better results against worse players. But that's going to do it for our first best of 5. We got 4 more on the way. The next one will be SOS versus Alive after a quick 2-minute break. Stay tuned.